who's definitely playing a havoc in today's trading session. You have the markets that are actually, nevertheless, trying to be really resilient, isn't it?
Well, yes, they are resilient to a larger extent, but somehow I believe that the momentum is slipping from many individual sectors like the auto, etc. They have not participated as strongly. Even if you look at Sensex, we're discussing this band for Sensex at 58,500, 59,800 is the band for Sensex, and whichever way the Sensex breaks out, that could be the trigger point of a start of a fresh trend. So we are neither breaking past above the 59,700 mark, we're neither breaking below the 58,500 odd levels for Sensex. So we'll have to wait out for maybe another couple of days for the indices to signal some sort of a breakdown or a breakout about this particular range.
All right, so that's the view coming in on the markets as well as for where Kunal sees Sensex headed to. Before we kickstart with the queries, let me wish all of our viewers who have tuned in from Kerala happy Onam. I have a lot of them already wishing us on our YouTube channel as well as on WhatsApp. That is Satya, who's also wishing us happy Onam. Also, happy Onam to you, Leon, as well, who's tuned in to us. But let's kickstart with the queries, and you know the drill. You can write into us on the number flashing on the top of your screen, or you can also tune in to the Twitter handles or YouTube as well as on Facebook. We are live on all of those streaming platforms. Write in your name, the query that you want to ask on which particular stock. If you're holding it, do let us know the quantity and the time frame that you're looking out to hold on this counter. Or if it's a fresh entry, also you can write into us. So let me take the first query. And this first one is from Satya. And he's asking for an entry point for Tata Motors, Kotak Mahindra Bank and Infosys, but either one of them, Kunal.
So I think it depends on what time frame you're looking out for, frankly, because if you're looking at it from a long-term play, then I think Tata Motors could still be a good buy at current levels. Kotak Bank also, I think at 1900, 1920 abouts, had almost a moment of a breakout point for itself, but then the stock has now gone back into a mild corrective phase. But I think for these kind of stocks, it's always better to try and wait out for the confirmation of a breakout rather than an anticipation if you're looking at it purely as a short-term play. So for example, Tata Motors about that 465 mark is a breakout for the stock price. For Kotak Bank, as I said, 19, 20, 25 is a breakout. So wait out for a couple of days, 2 days of closing above this particular level for individual stocks for these respective names is where I think you should buy rather than buying on dips.
Right, Kunal, coming back to you, Raghuram is writing to us from Bhubaneswar. He has 1,000 shares of Adani Power, 310, and 500 shares of ITC at 295. He's asking if we can hold these for the next 3 months.
Well, Adani Power, you can probably trade your stop loss. I'm not sure, because of the recent steep run-up, I'm not sure how much more upside could be seen in the very near term. So it's always better that you try and protect your profits and trade your stop losses for Adani Power. ITC, on the other hand, I'm still very bullish on the stock price. It flagged off, this stock almost 3-4 months back. When there was, the breakout was into budding stages and expected the stock to move towards 300 first and then 340. So I think the stock is gradually doing that. I would still believe that there is a lot of traction which could be seen for ITC over the near to medium term. So if you have a time horizon of 3 months, 6 months plus, you should definitely look to hold ITC.
Okay, this one is from Hemanta Datta Sharmila, and he wants a suggestion on 2 to 3 stocks that he can look to invest in via SIP for the next 2 to 3 years.
Next 2 to 3 years, I think that's a great time period to have. I think one stock should definitely be banking. I'm going with all large cap names, assuming that he's a first time investor. So first name could be in banking. I would go with either HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank in that order. So I think pick one of those. One I think definitely needs to be IT. There my choice would be either HCL Tech or TCS. And I think a third stock could possibly be, at this point in time, maybe you could look to invest in cement. So there I'd go either with Ambuja Cement or Ultratech.
Right, Kunal, coming to you. Alma is writing to us 100 shares of Biocon at ₹400. She's asking if she can average now or wait for more downside.
I would suggest to wait out for more downside, not to rush in at current levels. The stock has been a big underperformer. I think pharma pack aside, the stock has moved on its own, even in the worst of the pharma phase and the best of the pharma phase as well. So I would not suggest an averaging out at current levels unless the stock shows a decisive phase of a correction from current levels as well.
Alright, This one is coming from Rajagopalan, and Rajagopalan saying that he had bought GSK Pharma at a price of around 785 rupees a year ago, Sharmila. He's saying he's happy to hold on to this counter for the next 2 to 3 years, but he wants to know about your view. Should he do that? Should he continue to hold on to it, or should he look to switch to another counter altogether?
Sort of a mixed view, because I think definitely GSK Pharma is not a name that anybody would, I think, say that you need to sell, because there is no concern. And also typically what we found is about 3-4 years earlier that the MNCs which had sort of a bigger domestic book were actually safer in that sense from a lot of the other pharma companies which are sort of more export facing. So I have a mixed view on that. I think possibly if it's your only cement stock, then that's not such a great idea. But if you have a mix of other cement, beg your pardon, pharma stocks, like if you do have, say maybe a Sun Pharma or something like that in your portfolio, then I think you continue to hold GSK Pharma. If you don't, then also buy something which is more export facing.
Right, coming to you again, Sharmila. Dinesh Kumar is writing to us from Panchgini, Maharashtra. He has 10 shares of Clean Sciences and Technology Limited at 1700 rupees per share. He would like to accumulate this stock in every decline and hold it for a long term. Is it a wise decision, is what he's asking?
So very honestly, I don't track this stock, so I don't think I can really comment.
Right, to you, Kunal, Clean Sciences and Technology.
Well, I don't have too much of price history for the stock price. I think it's recently listed, just about some few months of price history for the stock. So really won't be able to comment.
All right, let's move on then. And this next one that I have is coming in for you, Kunal. And Ajay has told me ask this question only to Kunal, so I'll ask this question only to you. He's asking what percentage of portfolio should comprise of large cap, small cap, and mid cap stocks?
So I think it's a very fair question, and something which I believe is more of a puzzle or mystery for many traders as well as investors. I've always believed that you have to give more weightage towards large cap names, and then the proportion drops in for mid caps, and the proportion is the lowest for the small cap names. But then in trading or actually in market, the reverse is what actually happens. You tend to book out your large caps quite easily, quite quickly, and then you get stuck with your mid caps and the small cap names. An ideal proportion which I believe one should be working out would be, I think, 60% invested into large cap names, maybe another 20%, 25% into mid caps, and the remainder 15% to 20% approximately into small caps. That's an ideal or a fair distribution if you're looking at it from a portfolio perspective.
Right. Sharmila, coming to you, Ayush is writing to us from Bangalore. He's inquiring about two stocks. First being Thyrocare Tech, 100 shares at 1100 price, long-term view, and Reliance, 29 shares at 2575, long-term view again. Your take.
I'm sorry, I missed the price of Thyrocare.
Right, 100 shares at 1100.
1,100. So I think it's trading much lower than where he bought it at. I think the concern for this entire space is, of course, the fact that the competition has really heated up, and now you're going to see a lot of low-cost players entering into this whole testing pathology business. And at the same time, they had a sort of the sort of COVID tailwind is also now not really there for these stocks. Having said that, I'm positive on the space, so this is not the price that I would exit at. And if he's a longer-term investor, this is a good stock, and I think you should stay invested. With Reliance, I think that's fairly easy to answer. I think what now you need to focus on Reliance is their new businesses. They've sort of proven themselves where FMCG, their whole retail arm is concerned, as well as their telecom. Now they're going to increase their presence not just in FMCG but also in renewable energy. So I think good things to look forward to. So definitely stay invested.
Right. Kunal, we did speak about Tata Motors at the start of the show. I just want to add in Leon's query. He's saying he has 1,300 shares of Tata Motors purchased at 460. What should he do?
See, I think, as I said, that 460, 465 actually is the breakout point for Tata Motors. So, if the stock crosses above that, that could be a point where you can look to maybe average further. As of now, we can hold. The only concern for Tata Motors or for the entire auto pack is that after this 4 months of very strong uptrend for many of these auto names, these stocks are getting into a phase of correction consolidation. So it's only a matter of time that these stocks would get into a time-wise correction, maybe spend another 2 or 3 months at this trading range. So that's the only question mark. So from a short-term trading play, you may not get any major pop into the stock price unless the stock breaks out. 465 is the breakout point for Tata Motors.
Right, Sharmila, Anant Nayak is writing to us from Bangalore. He wants to buy 100 shares of Torrent Powers for long term. He's asking for your perspective.
Yes, I think just a little while at the start of the show, we discussed NTPC, which is also in the power space. Now we have a query on Torrent Power. So while I was neutral on NTPC, I think with Torrent Power, I'm sort of more positive. And I think he can definitely buy the stock he can definitely start buying the stock at this price. By that I mean that my approach would be to sort of do sort of a more staggered buying. Buy an initial, suppose you want to buy 100 shares, then buy 20 shares to start with, is what I would say. And yes, I think you can start investing in Torrent Power for the long term.
Yeah, Kunal, and she's saying that she has 130 shares of Colgate Palmolive. The stock has been erratic, making 8% profit now. So she wants to know whether she should book profits or hold on to it till it crosses 52-week high of 1751. And also she wants to know, is that likely? 3-month view.
So I think it's possible. In fact, I think, last week or a few days back as well, I had answered a similar question on Colgate that, the stock has been one of the stronger names from the other FMCG pack. It's confirmed a breakout of a multi-month, multi-week consolidation, as well as a breakout with very strong set of volumes, at least over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So that generally indicates that the stock has seen a fresh participation for itself. So 1730-40 could be a possible target for Colgate if you have that kind of a time span.
Right, Kunal, this question is for you. Nitin Nikhara is writing to us, who has Tata Elxsi 40 shares at 1500. He's asking whether he should book some profit, add more, or hold.
I think you should book out profits. For the first time, I think, if I'm not wrong, Tata Elxsi is actually showing signs of a breakdown on RSI. In fact, I was looking at the weekly RSI, and the weekly RSI is at just about at the point of breaking below the 2-year low for Tata Elxsi. So I think that could be a first indication or a signal that trends could be changing and reversing quite rapidly for the stock price. I think it's better that if you've made some excellent profits on Tata Elxsi, good time to book out.
Right. Tata Elxsi, Kunal, I remember right on this show, we marked that stock actually crossing that 10,000 rupees per share mark. What a rise Tata Elxsi has actually had over the last 2 years. But let's move on. And this next one is for you, Sharmila. Roy Dashrath has written to us saying that he's holding sale around 50 shares at current price and he's looking for the long term, and his long term is about 2 years. So he wants to know, what should he do? Should he continue to hold on to sale or look to exit the counter?
Well, I actually like metals as a space, and I think they're now all trading at very attractive valuations. The point I'm trying to make here is that typically commodities, most commodities and especially metals, they do sort of trade in a PE band, and now all the metal plays are at the lower end of the PE band. Having said that, I think it can take a while for the cycle to sort of get back to the prices that we've seen them trading at, the valuations rather that we've seen them trading at maybe a year and a half, and there is a lot of uncertainty on a lot of things globally. So if he's a long-term investor, I would say that he needs to continue holding the stock and be a little patient.
Right. Coming to you, Sharmila, Professor Thomas V. George is writing from Kerala, wishing you a very happy Onam, sir, firstly. Secondly, he's holding USL, UBL, Globus, Radico and GM Breweries. He's asking, out of the above, which is the best for long-term?
That's quite a nice basket to have. You're sort of covering all your bets. And honestly, I think all of them have their own USP. I think United Spirits, Radico Khaitan, they are sort of in the more hard liquor sort of range. Did we also mention UBL in the basket?
Yes, he did.
Okay,
yes,
so UBL is obviously... Yeah, so UBL is obviously is a beer player. I do like UBL at this price. I do like a Radico, but I think Radico in terms of valuations is a little high. United Spirits, the numbers have been sort of not that great, but overall it's a story because this is now owned by Diageo, so that's again a longer term story that I like. And GM Breweries I don't track too closely. So I won't comment on that. But the other three stocks, I think you can definitely continue to hold, and I'm not going to pick a favorite.
On that note, stay with us as we slip into a short break, but viewers can keep writing to us. All our platforms are live. We'll be right back with the queries and rapid fire segment right after the break. Don't go anywhere.